Hello, my name is Grady Chirogianis. I'm a volunteer at Foundation Communities Garden Terrace, and I'm joined here today by Heisman Trophy winning NFL MVP, Football Hall of Famer, and local Austinite Earl Campbell. As I just mentioned, I've been volunteering at Foundation Communities, specifically at Garden Terrace, which is a Foundation Communities housing complex where residents have been provided affordable and safe homes to live.
Yes.
It's a very good cause.
Well, man, that's good because we should understand, not because this is just a pandemic we're going through and everybody hates that, but people need to understand that we all have been blessed in life and we all take a lot from life. And God is so good to us all that we always should slow down and try to give something back and try to help somebody.
Absolutely.
I pray every day when I say my morning prayer, I pray that today I do something to try to help somebody.
Absolutely. That's great.
And that's really simple of what life is all about if you look at it.
Mm-hmm. Here we are in the summer of 2020. Under normal circumstances, we'd be celebrating and watching the Summer Olympics in Tokyo, but COVID-19 happened. And so I was planning to host an Olympic watch party with the residents at Garden Terrace. And when that got scratched, I thought to myself, what could possibly rival the 2020 Olympics? And here we are. I'm with Earl Campbell. So again, thank you so much.
Well, I'm not sure I'm as big as the Olympics, but I appreciate you having me on, and I hope the people that you work with see another side of myself outside just an athlete, and find out also not only am I just a human being like everybody else, but I'm also interested in other things as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Earl, if it's okay, I'm going to start this off on a serious note. When you visit the homepage of the Foundation Community's website, you come across a YouTube video introducing you to Tavon, a man who has turned his life around and thrived with the support of Foundation Communities. He grew up very poor, was one of 9 siblings, and his father left the family when he was 9 years old. I couldn't help but think of your story when I saw this, because you grew up rather poor, you were one of 11 siblings, and your father unfortunately passed away when you were 11. Tavon has experienced a lot of difficulty in his life, but wonderfully, he is in a great place today mentoring others. So I'm going to bring this full circle to you. So how does Earl Campbell, born and raised in small town Tyler, Texas, during a time of segregation and all the ugliness that comes with that, go on to win the Heisman, become the first overall pick in the draft, lead the league in rushing as a rookie, become Offensive Player of the Year and Offensive Rookie of the Year, and go on to make the College Football and Pro Football Hall of Fame, and as of a few months ago, has the University of Texas football field named after him?
That's pretty good. You keep it pretty good, man. I would tell you something. Like you said, my father died when I was 11 years old. I was in the 5th grade, and my oldest brother was 18. My baby brother doesn't remember none of that. He was too young. And I'm number 7th in the family as far as the children go. And if it wasn't for the segregation problems and all that, I probably would have been the 3rd football player out of my family.
Mm-hmm.
But my 2 older brothers, because of the situation in the 60s, they did not get the opportunity that I got. So,
I remember reading that in one of your books, that
yes.
you had 2 brothers who were actually, you said they were better than you at football, which I find hard to believe.
I think they was better. They would have been better than I was because we grew up on a farm out in the country, and everybody make this big deal out of roses.
Mm-hmm. Tyler,
And
Texas.
yes, well, during the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and after lunch on Fridays, we would stop working for other people in their fields with their roses. And my father and mother had on the side, we had our own, they had their own rose business. So
Mm-hmm.
when we finished working for the white man, I would say, which is not bad, that's just being honest, we would come home on Fridays at lunchtime and we'd work our props until Saturday at certain hours, like 2 or 3, maybe 4. Your dad would let you off and you go be what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned at a young age, that I really wasn't cut out for that kind of work. I just, my family called me the laziest one in the family because I just didn't, that didn't interest me. I only went to the fields because my mother would fix lunch for everybody. And I figured I'd go to the field, I'd get some lunch, and I could work pretty good till about 1 o'clock. And that means we'd have our lunch break. And after that, I really didn't care about it. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I knew when I was like in 5th grade, when I started playing flag football, we lived in the country, we went to the city to play football in school. And back then, our coach had a football team for the 5th graders and 6th graders, and
I would
I had
imagine you were
two.
the best one
I
out of
had
all of
two
them.
brothers that are younger than I am. It's 3 guys younger than I am, so 2 of them are twins, Steve and Tim. So they're a year younger than I am. So the 3 of us would run around separately from another family, and we started playing flag football. Well, before flag football, we would play with these guys on Sunday after church. And we was out in the country, we were playing tackle. And of course, I was bigger than most people
Mm-hmm.
in the 5th grade. And the guys always picked me, and I was hell, man. So in order to get this physical to play football, we kept telling our mother we missed the bus coming home from school.
Oh.
So, so what would happen was the coach told us we need a physical from the doctor. So my twin brothers and I said, I tell you what, I signed mom names on your physical, and y'all sign mom's name on my physical. And we would go to this doctor in the country that kind of took care of everything. And after a while, he said, I know this is not Ann's writing. I know Ann's writing your mother. I said, oh, yeah, she didn't have time. She was doing something, so she just wrote this. So we forged her name on the physical, and we kept telling her that the reason we was late coming home, we missed the bus. So that worked for about till we got in junior high. And
Mm-hmm.
then they started printing paper. And the paper would come out and they would talk about what Earl, Steve, and Tim Campbell did. Well, by the time we got to high school, we couldn't lie no more. And my mom really didn't want this. She didn't want us to play football because she thought it was too rough, but we kept telling her. Well, eventually did. But back in junior high, I knew for some reason, I just believed that God gave me something that he didn't give that other guy.
Yep. And you were right.
And I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
But I always kind of kept it hid. I didn't want to let everybody know what I knew. And I mean, it turned out great. When I got to the 9th grade, we won the city championship at our school. And I didn't hear integration until I was in ninth grade. And when I got in the ninth grade, we won the city championship.
I heard you were a linebacker at first, not a running back.
I told everybody that I was the black Dick Buckles. I used to walk like Dick Buckles. I was bow-legged. I had shoulders like him. So when I get to high school, I'm playing linebacker. My brothers are defensive ends, defense linebackers, and we got it going on.
Mhm. Can imagine you and your brothers just completely whooped ass on the field.
Yeah, and everybody know, don't mess with those Campbells. Those guys are tough. Those are
Yep.
country boys.
Yep. So I have a follow-up question.
Uh-huh.
So you have obviously have immense talent, but you also put in a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears that led to your world-class achievements on the field. But what drives you to spend time with a 17-year-old kid on a random Thursday to speak about a group of people and to a group of people that you've never met?
Well, I've always said, involved in all this Earl Campbell, I remember I come from a family of 6 brothers and 4 sisters. I'm number 7. But my mother told me when I was at a very young age, she says, Earl, I don't know. You're just different. You're different from the rest of my children.
Mhm.
And that's not bad because no 2 children are alike. Remember I told you God gave me talent to be an athlete?
Mhm.
I I would dream at night, when I was younger about what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. And I I would pray about it and I would work at it and I would work at it. And the older I got when those dreams come true, and being on the team, I know it wasn't about just Earl, it was always about us. And, that's what my life's about, so that's why I'm spending time with you because remember I told you I hope people get to understand that it's more than football about me.
Yep.
But nobody really ever talked to me honestly and find out. And I think what happened is when I started getting interviewed in high school and doing all these accolades in college and the higher I went, I would always just say, oh, it was about the right guard. I switched the conversation and it was never about me. And my life
Mhm.
is not about me because I come from such a big family and I understand that it's better not to be ego in life. It's best to realize the honest truth about life is about nobody never does something by themselves. And that's the best thing about sports because it teaches you. Remember, like in the 6th grade, I told you, in the
Yep.
5th grade, I was on the team. So that's why I encourage people to let their children play sports if they want to, because they will learn a lot of it is about teamwork and it's not about I.
Exactly. So I've seen you on TV, interviewed by many. I've read your biography and autobiography. And as we had touched on a bit before, you actually said that both of your brothers were better than you at football, both of your older brothers, which I just find that impossible to believe. So are you sure this is true?
One was a center, and he was like 6'4", 6'5", maybe 6'6", and then the other one's about 6'2", and he was a nose guard.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my dad would go pick him up after the game at the stadium, and I would go with my dad. And I remember one night the one named Herbert was playing nose guard, and the quarterback went to like get the ball to the running back, And Herbert knocked the center down and got the ball and run 70 yards the other way.
Jeez. That's
You know, that
crazy.
was just great football. But a lot of minorities in the 60s didn't get the opportunities that I got. See, up in Tyler, that's East Texas, and I found out in business that I'm in with another guy that went to my high school. His name was Gary Baxter, and his team at John Tyler won the second state championship. And I won a freshman in 74 or 73 because I came here right after. So we're doing some business up there, and we're gonna do it in Dallas, outside in Rockwall, and we're gonna build one in Houston, and it's one in Tyler. So we have to go through the NFL and doing some of this.
Hmm.
So they did this study about East Texas, and they found out that in East Texas alone, there is not just Tyler, but the whole East Texas area. There's either 1,100 either playing pro football or done played in the NFL.
So you mentioned that just a few years, that by being just a little bit older than you, was the difference your brothers and you face, because they had doors shut in their face due to racism, and you had doors barely cracking open that you took full advantage of. So I think
Yeah,
this is a fitting thing to ask in 2020, perhaps more so than any year in my life so far.
yeah.
How far have we come as a country in trying to get rid of racism since the time you were in high school, and what steps can we take to even go further and faster in the right direction?
Well, I would tell you my opinion of that, and I told the people this in Tyler because I was involved in my high school is named John Tyler.
Hmm.
That's not a good name.
Nope.
And across town, the other high school is named Robert B. Lee. That's not a good name.
Yep, that's not.
But thank God because of some work some people did, and I went up and did some work. We got those high school names changed now
That's
since
good.
all of this racism, the Black Lives Matter, and all that been going on. You would have think though that it would have happened when the young man shot those people in the church in North Carolina, or you would have thought it got changed when they had the march over and what a guy ran over all those people in Carolina as well. But I would say this: we've came a long ways, but we have a lot of ways to go. And people, I tell them up in East Texas, and this is my version of it. Even at UT, you can change all the statutes you want. You can change the names of the high schools. You can do all these things. But until you get into the heart of a man or the heart of a human being, until you get into the mind of a person, that's when the change starts, you know.
Exactly.
I have my son Tyler is married. That's the baby in my family. And he has a 5-year-old. Well, he's 7 years old now. My grandson, Messiah Christian Campbell. And he has a sister that's 3 years old. Her name is Cheyenne. I never will forget. And they live in Pflugerville. And my son came to me one day and he said, Dad, I got to talk to you. I said, yeah, you know, man. Yeah, son, what is it? He says, Messiah came from school today, Dad. He told me something. I said, what did Messiah, you know, Messiah talks, he's kind of outgoing. He like those Campbells. I'm saying, okay, what did Messiah tell you? He said my kids told Messiah at 5 years old now, school, Messiah, you can't play with us because you're not pink.
That's horrible.
And I said, Tyler, let me go. No, that I said, let me go up to that school. I talked to him. He said, nah, I handle it. But now, at 5 years old, so you ask me how far do we have to go? That kind of thing breaks my heart.
I'm going to shift topics to something that's very unimportant compared to the racism in
Well,
America. I was
mm-hmm.
watching your A Football Life on NFL Network, and I
Yeah.
couldn't help but laugh at your expense during one part when at your one of your days in Oilers training camp, you were told to run straight around a cone, karaoke to the left, backpedal backwards, and then run right. And apparently, every time you got to the backpedaling part, you fell down. Now your coach, Bum Phillips at the time, um, a legendary football coach, he famously said, "Don't worry about it. We're not going to ask him to run backwards." But I got to ask, everyone needs to know, why couldn't you backpedal?
That deal, they set up, just picture a block, just draw a block.
Mhm.
And what happened is when you start on the right side of that cone, they put 4 cones. And so each corner had a block, was a cone. On each square was a cone. So what that individual had to do, that running back, would take off from the first cone and run to the second cone, right?
Yep.
The ball in his hand. That coming from left, going left, going from right, running straight up, and then you're gonna go to your left, you stop, and you karaoke to the second cone.
Mhm.
And then when you get to the second cone, you back up right. And when you get to the third cone, you turn and you run straight ahead. Well, I could run to that first cone. When I get to that second cone, the karaoke, and back up, I fall flat on my butt. And the coach, the running back coach, and the booze boy kept seeing it. And I tried, man. I tried hard. And I would fall down every time, and they would say, "Bum, look at this rookie." So Bum made that statement. And Tyler, I would tell you something else. Every year at training camp, and I would start working out in January. After the Pro Bowl, I would take 2 weeks off, and I would start working out for the upcoming season as a receiver in Houston that played for San Diego Chargers. His name was Charlie Joyner, so he lived down the street from me. So him and I would meet at 7 in the morning, at 11 o'clock in the day, and at 3 o'clock in the day, and we would work out in the sun like out there now. And we would run that bayou in Houston. That's what we was doing. And I told my son Tyler this yesterday. I said, Tyler, I don't know what, but there are certain people in life that, they practice what they do, they work at it, but some people are just not good practice people.
Yep.
Yes, I'm just one of those guys that not very good at practice. But when that light come on and when it all's got to be put together, I know what I got to do. And other people start believing in me. I mean, in my situation, the right guard, the right tackle, the center, all of them believed in what I was trying to do. And they said, if Campbell's going to do that, I'm going to. And you start getting people to buy into what you're trying to do. And that's what makes Jim Brown. That's what made Walter Payton. That's what made Dorsett. Because people start seeing what you're trying to accomplish. And I don't know how it happens, but God just gave me a little bit of something he didn't give somebody else, and boom.
There we go. Many people watching this right now are going through tough times, especially in the wake of this pandemic. For
Yes.
example, those living alone may feel isolated given safety protocols in place. You're an inspiration to me, and I'd like to end this on an inspirational note. What message do you have for all of those affiliated with foundation communities or for anyone who's experiencing a tough time of their own?
When I was at the University of Texas, and I always went to church, and I go to church now, and since the pandemic, we can't gather, so I haven't been to church lately, and people understand that. but and I'm a Baptist in my religion. My mother was like that. That's what we raised us. All 11 kids as Baptists, and as my mother said, I guess I'd be a Baptist till I die. But one time when I was at UT, I would go to a revival on the east side of town after practice, after going to school. I would go to this revival over on the east side of town, and this preacher that was running the revival was from Dallas. But one night he said something in his sermon I'll never forget as long as I live. And I can see him at 65 years old now. I am, and him saying the same thing. And I've always remembered this. From that night, I heard it when I was an 18, 19-year-old kid. He said in his sermon, somebody was here before you got here. That means somebody was on this earth before you got here. When you die, there's going to be some people here and you're gone. So you need to understand that you're not the first person, saying Earl Campbell, that this ever happened to. And if you live long enough, you will not be the only person this happened to. So we're going through this pandemic and we're going through all these struggles in our life. Remember one thing, God doesn't put no more on you than you can bear.
Mr. Campbell, you're the man, the absolute man. I've actually read all of these books here. I'll
Oh,
keep going.
yeah.
They're all
Oh,
great.
man.
This is the new one. This one is the
Yeah.
best one. The new
Oh,
one.
yeah.
And so I just know firsthand there's a lot of respect for you in Garden Terrace and at Foundation Communities, and you're an
Yeah.
awesome human being. Thank you so much, Mr. Campbell. And
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. Those people you're working with, the people gonna see this. They need to understand that when they seen Earl Campbell running, they seen some of this on TV, and they were saying, "I know Earl's gonna do it." Because of them, that's what made me being able to sit here to do this interview with you right now, because they have pushed me through all that.
yes, sir.
Hey
So
man, you're a great young man. I wish the people at your charity the best, and if I can ever help you or do anything, maybe sometime you can pick me up and I come over there and they can see me in person.
yes, sir. That'd be great
After
once
we
this
get through with
pandemic
this,
is over.
yeah, after we get through with this pandemic.
Yes, sir.
All right, dude. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a
Yes,
great
sir.
rest of your summer, and I can't
Okay.
wait to speak with you again.